World of YouTube, true crime, a terrible state, and everything else. Today we're going over everything else. Today we're heading out to Purgatory in Sutton, Mass. And this is a reservation, mind you. And there is a legend. Actually, I should have brought that up first. Yep, here it is. And I wanted to show this. And this is the Chasm, Purgatory Chasm. And due to the fact that I could not do the video there because the place was packed. And you had to pay for parking, but I didn't get bothered with that. Even though I was in there driving around with no ticket. I took some pictures. A couple of them came out very, something to think about. And, of course, here is the legend. Have you heard of the legend? Of the colonial and Native American lore. Now, one thing I like to make clear is that, this poor person, Native American woman, and I would like to make this 100% clear. I can just imagine, I'm sick of the stories of, Native Americans were savages. Native Americans, all they wanted to do was kill. Native Americans, mind you, helped the colonists when they first came here. Pilgrims, whatever. Helped them how to farm. Helped them how to get through cold weather. And they just did a lot until they found out that they were getting ripped off for their land. And that's the bottom line. But as one thing is true and clear is that some natives wanted to turn, as they called them, praying. They used to call them praying Indians, but I'm not going to use that. They're praying Native Americans, meaning they went Catholic or whatever religion was at that time. But this supposedly, the legend of Purgatory in Sutton, Mass, is got to do with a praying Native American, and I guess he ended up dying or whatnot, and they called him Hobomoko or Hobomoko. As in this the thing, he shaped shift. As you read here, he lunged and grabbed her by the wrist. When she called out to the Native American god, Hobomoko, to save her, the second settler revealed himself as none other than Hobomoko in the flesh, morphing into a devil-like disguise. So, he pretty much disguised himself as a settler and grabbed his captive by the wrist and flew to the Purgatory Chasm. Colonists said that the devil's actions on that day formed the chasm. The deep depressions were allegedly the places he stomped in through his victim. The large, deep cuts in the rocks were results of swinging tomahawk. Now that I don't understand, because tomahawks were used in the West, out there in the Western Native Americans. Here, I have a book on it, and I'm actually going to find that book and pull it out because I want to get a detailed picture of the club that the great Chief Metacom used in his battles. And that had like a round ball on it. And he made that club by hand, of course. In tomahawks, well, like I said, Western Native Americans, but guess what? It don't surprise me much that they would use tomahawks, or if anything, talking about shape-shifting, right? Skinwalker. You know, it all leads back to that Native American lore is right. The Skinwalker, and a demonic, possessed, evil spirit. And I don't care what anybody says. Even the Native American nations, I'm sorry, but them were put here to protect Native American land, sacred land. And, excuse me, getting a drink. And, you know, that's all it is. It's protection, sacred land. Don't disgrace it. Don't think you're gonna build on it. Don't think you're gonna take it. It's theirs. It's been theirs. They were here first, and that's the end of the story. But when you rile up them spirits, but in this case, the Native American spirit turned against the Native American of his own kind. And right here is supposedly the rocks in the split in the rock that was made by... Yeah, but anyway, this is a thing. I like that I know that name. Hobomoko. Devil's Corn Crib. You see, that's the bottom half, that's the top half. I did not get out there today, right? Because the simple fact, yeah, you have to pay out there. It's $5 per car. I didn't have no money. But I got some video and I got some pictures. And one of them actually came up something like when I went to the King Philip's throne, Great Chief Metacom. Historian says that the legend actually served a religious purpose in the colonists' efforts to Christianize Native American by demonizing Hobomoko and creating a parable-like warning out of the woman's murder. Now this is the thing. They get the natives out of their own faith with the hope of bringing them to Christianity. Now this is another thing that, you know, makes me angry. Native Americans that had to change their ways of life, their ways of living. And that to me is just disgusting. But some of them did it with no problem. And, of course, Hobomoko had no problem doing it either. But to call them demons, to call them devils, they're no different than the colonists, the English, the British, the French, or anybody that came along through them times and fought through wars and did just as much as what the Indian natives did in war, battle. You know what? Nothing is different. All war is same. It's either kill or be killed. And just because, the Native Americans here had, the street smarts, I like to call them, and the English and the British and the colonists all, they were reading and writing back then, and had somewhat of an education, but like I always like to tell everybody, when you come down in the ruts, when you come down in the gutter, or when you come down in them caves, like they call them here, and you come down in these low slum-like, as they call it, skid row, you need more than just books of knowledge. You need more than a diploma, a degree, a master's degree, anything up in the high levels of life to make it down here at the bottom of the barrel. I'm sorry. I can't even say I'm sorry because there's no being sorry down here. You gotta fight, scrape, eat the garbage off the streets to survive. And that's exactly what the natives did. They did what they did to survive. They had a heart. They also had the kindest people known to man. But when you start taking that advantage of, then you're just gonna get what everybody else gives. You're gonna get that back. But even more crazier from the natives. They used to, right? Colonists used to think the Indian natives were insane. Insane. Crazy. Because they used to disappear. You're right, they thought they were magic. They thought they were, disciples of the devil. But they were not. They just knew more things than the settlers did. The white man that came from offshore, from the Great Sea. And that's, to me, history needs to be changed. People need to stop reading stuff that claims that Native Americans were evil, were the devil, were disciples of the devil, were savages. They were not. They did just as much as anybody else did and more because they felt threatened. They lost a lot of lives. They lost their land. And hell, don't forget about slavery. They were sent off for slaves. So they had it rough. Rough. And for the history books to make them the brutalest, craziest killers of all time, that's insane. The history books are wrong. And like I said about this place, I think there was a little more there than that day. Two sides to each story. The Native American woman didn't get her side in. And she got murdered by this god, Motokoto. Hobomoko. Said that wrong. Hobomoko. I gotta remember that. 'Cause you know what? I'd like to go down there. Hobomoko. Just like I call out for the Lushi. Knowing this, I'd like to go there and try and see if I can talk some sense into this guy. Why did you change? But anyways, moving on. I'm going to go over my pictures I got at this place. Very beautiful place, and you could tell right away with all the rocks, like I say, the markers, the milestones, the using these as, where they walk, where they're, landmarkers. And I'm sure this was a huge place of landmarking for the Native Americans. This is also out in the Blackstone River region, out in that area of Blackstone. Huge place, I believe, right? Housed many Native Americans. And you can tell by looking at these pictures and the friggin' pine trees and everything out in this area how strongly it is for this to be Native American land. I still gotta go very thoroughly through these pictures because of... Now look at this. I am in the gully of the beginning of the path. And I would say this is where the Native American woman and colonists probably were crossing paths. This is looking towards the path that would lead you to the Chasm, however you say that, the Chasm, I believe. Yeah, Chasm. This would bring you, and I just took pictures of, on top of everything. And I just wanted to show you the beginning of it. Did I get that? Nah. Yeah, this is the beginning of it. So you gotta go more to the left. You can walk all down this and you can reach that sign. Actually, I'll go over this real quick. Play the video. Like I said, I didn't talk in this video. I just showing you the lay of the land and what it looks like. And as you can see, it's infested with rocks. And like I said, there's the beginning of the path that would bring you down to lead you to the chasm. If anybody wants to visit this, like I said, $5 for parking for cars or trucks or whatever. And yeah, you got some rough terrain there, boy, to walk. Right there is the beginning of the chasm. I didn't get out as far to try and get that crack there, to get to the crack, because like I said, I was limited on time. But like I said, to give you a good visualism of this, this is what it looks like there. This is like the right side of it when you're getting in there. Like I said, I was just taking pictures, but and as you can see, like I say, you see all that. And it was like barely sun, but there was sun. It was cloudy out. Leads me to this. See how dim it is out. Dim. And in this region here, or in this area, I take a picture of myself right here. This is when I was down there. And I believe I turned around because there were people the other way. And I didn't want them to think I was taking pictures of them or nothing, but it turns around and this comes up. As you can see very clearly, grayness. Now, there's not much sun out there. Not much sun. Oh, I erased the other one. Bear with me, I gotta go back to this. As you can see the grayness in the photo. I forgot I gotta do this. Yeah. Whoop. Picture happy. Now once again, this is the first photo, and then I took another photo of her. And then there's still sitting there. Gray mist in my photo. But everything else comes up clean as a whistle. Spirit world. As you can see, I got my new patches on. 2 chief heads I stitched on the other day. I got in the mail. Finally got them on. I've been working on making my native jacket. But everything else, as you can see clearly, no mist. No mist. Why is there mist near me? I ain't never had that happen. And I've got pictures of myself with, sun out. And like I said, there was barely any sun at that time. It was very cloudy, and now take these couple pictures and mist. Nuts. And this is just a sign that says, the Chasm State Reservation. And that's all it says. It don't say anything about the Native American woman, but it's got the name of who made the plaque, I guess. But other than that, this tells me a lot when you look at pictures like this. Something was there. So I can just imagine I gotta go through these pictures thoroughly, make sure there's nothing up there standing in spirit, but there's a beautiful place. You can picnic, eat, cook out, grills, hell yeah. But, like I say, there gotta be something more to that story than just, the Native American woman came across with the colonists and killed them. And it's just getting ridiculous, man, with these stories. Things need to be changed throughout history, folks. Things need to be changed. Because what you know of history and Native Americans, a lot of it is just BS. Can't sit there and blame them for the white man coming over and just saying, hey, we'll give you this for that. We'll give you a boots, hat, clothing for 20 acres of land. Yeah. It's fine quality for 20 acres. When natives wear their own clothing. I could see them now in colonist shoes, and their friggin' feet are hurting, and they're over here, what the hell? Can't do nothing with shoe. But this is one place I definitely got to see if I can get permission to do a little ghost hunting in. I got to look in the times and everything if I can get there a little later and stay there and do it and not get bothered. But there's a bunch of rangers on their golf carts around there, so definitely might want to check for permission. But other than that, I ain't going to be saying that, because if I can get down there, I catch stuff in broad daylight too, but this place is just packed, so I'm going to see what I can do to get there a little later after dusk. If not, if I can, I can. If anything, I'll just do something during the day, and hopefully there's not too many people around there at that time, but of course, everybody's out now. COVID's lightening up a little bit. This place was jammed. But other than that, be safe, take care, and always throw a right hand up to the Native Americans and erase what you know of them now in history. Now I'm going to tell you what it really needs to be known. That's right. That's right. The good stuff that needs to be known. Out.